All right. This is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Make sure my mic'd up. This is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Been spending some late nights lately and watching the NBA playoffs. Normally, it's just a passing fancy. I always keep an eye on it, but I never really watch a whole lot. But this year, I'm watching more than I used to, or at least more. It's more now as I've done in the last couple of years, even though I might have known what was going on. And I'm finding great interest in the Lakers. I'm interested in the Lakers because ever since they made the trade for Luka Doncic, everybody and their mama that's a Lakers fan or have any kind of affinity for the Lakers swear up and down that the Lakers are going to play the Celtics in the NBA Finals. Well, I didn't see any of that, especially with the way that Doncic started out in LA. He was a little banged up, had some knee injuries or leg injuries or whatever he had when he first came. It didn't look so good starting out. But now that he's been with LeBron for a while, they actually play pretty well together. So Lakers fans all over the world, they're excited, thinking that they were going to go to the playoffs. To the finals. Well, as I looked around and I see all these other teams out there, Minnesota is one of those teams that are very dangerous. If they come out and they're hitting three-pointers and they get a pace to their liking, they are a very dangerous team. Over the last 2-3 weeks of the season, they had several blowouts. And I don't know if you can attribute that to teams packing it in or Minnesota just that kind of team. Either they're on or they're off. Either way, you can't really trust them, kind of like Memphis. And you saw what happened to Memphis. They bowed out in 4 straight, even though they didn't have John Morant. He wouldn't have made a difference against OKC. They were just a better team. And I got issues with the way he went out. He went up for this monstrous dunk, even though the guy, I think his teammate set him up on that. He had a breakaway, and the defender was trailing him. And instead of laying the ball up and getting a possible foul, he went hot dog and passed it back to a Morant, who went into this flying act trying to dunk. And the dude just happened to clip him on the shoulder, and he landed chest first. Now, when you saw it, it looked like he landed directly on his jaw, but he never hit his jaw. So I can't understand how he landed chest first and ended up with a hip contusion. It didn't make sense to me. In any case, being that your team is down 3-0, I'm saying do whatever you got to do to get back on the floor for game 4, the critical game. He didn't do that. He sat on the sidelines and watched his team get swept. Well, in contrast, Bam Adebayo from the Heat, his team was in dire situation. He took a terrible spill himself, but he got up. He came back in the game. He almost immediately after being bent up. Same thing with Jalen Brunson. He legs went out on him and it looked like he turned his ankle, went to the locker room, did something. 10 minutes later, he's back on the floor. Not John Morant and not some of these other players. They just don't have that heart. And Minnesota, you start to wonder if they had the same kind of heart after blowing the Lakers out in game 1. They laid a complete egg in game 2. And they bounced back in game 3. And then yesterday was a very critical game for both teams. It came down to one possession. The Lakers brought it in. They had like 5 seconds to get a shot off. They tried to get it to Doncic. Doncic had to give it up to LeBron. LeBron kicked it over to Reeves. Reeves had a good shot, rimmed out. So now they're down 3-1, and the Lakers fans are having a fit. What are they going to do? I have no idea. Does Aunt know he's streaming? Of course I know I'm streaming, idiot. I did it on purpose. I don't know. Anyway, unless I'm having some kind of technical difficulty, I don't know. All right. I am listening. I'm just in the middle of a thought. Lakers or Wolves? I think T-Wolves going to knock them off. Might be 6 games, but they're going to get them. Yeah, they will. T-Wolves, baby. If Jar wasn't injured, Yeah, it'd be 2-2 on the video game. Ain't no way in the world that Memphis could play with OKC. Now, what I will grant you is if he had not got hurt in that game 3, they would have won that game because they were up by 30 points. And by him not being there, it changed the whole dynamic. And that allowed OKC to get something going, which they were just going through the motion, probably trying to get themselves up to play against a team that you know that you can beat. So had Memphis won that game, OKC wouldn't have been happy about it. They would have laughed and come out and whoop you some more. It just would have went 5 games. But 6 games, absolutely not. But we'll see what they're going to do. They got to come up with a new coach, and they need to go get a heart transplant. Maybe they come back better next year. But OKC beat Memphis all day with the rosters that they have right now. So the question is, what are the Lakers going to do? Are they finished? I don't think they're quite finished, but I don't think they're going to push it to a 7th game. I think they go back to LA and they're going to find a way to win that game, and then Minnesota's going to knock them off in game 6. And I think the primary difference is, as well as LeBron played over the last couple games, that 40-year-old can keep up with that 25-year-old all night long, especially over a period of games. Yeah, you can pace yourself, but when you and 2 other guys have to do the majority of the scoring, then I don't think at some point that age is going to catch up to him. And I think that's what LeBron's problem going to be. And yeah, he's on crack. I just don't think he's going to be able to keep up. And when Edwards gets into a little rhythm and he's not getting himself in foul trouble and doing technical fouls and stuff like that, then he's a very dangerous player, especially when they're hitting threes. And I just think that is the difference between Minnesota and LA, especially with the play of Julius Randle. That's a bad dude right now, and I think LA doesn't have anything to match that. But LeBron, valiant effort. They could have won. Yeah, LA did choke, if you want to call it that. But one thing that I did see that gives you an idea about the changing of the guard with this replay system, which I think is kind of slows the game down. They called the foul on LeBron after the ball was ruled to have gone out of bounds on Edwards. I don't think that was a foul, but and I also don't think that they should be able to put a foul into something that was never called. Now, if the guy made a foul call and you challenge it, then you can reverse that if it's not correct. But if you call the ball out of bounds on Edwards and then turn around and give them the ball back and a foul on LeBron, I have a problem with that. And that is the reason why they got that advantage. Now, Minnesota at that point was up by 1 point. They sunk both free throws. It wouldn't have made a difference in the outcome because LA didn't hit the shot. They didn't have enough time to really set up an offense. But the problem with that, they lost their timeout because of that challenge. And if they had that timeout, they could have advanced the ball to half court. And that made all the difference. And even still, Reeves had a good look at the basket. I don't know if he may have rushed his shot just a little bit, but he did have enough time to get it off. And it was online and just rimmed out. I mean, it's just the way it goes. But I think LA, I never thought they would get deep into the playoffs. I felt like if Golden State, if Butler is scoring 20 points to go along with Curry, he's going to score his 25, 30 plus. If Butler can match his scoring of 20 plus, then Golden State was going to be hard to beat. The Rockets, they just don't have enough scoring. Like I said yesterday, these guys, they making these professional paychecks, but they producing like they're still in college. This guy, Jalen Green, scoring all these points during the regular season, and then when it's time to play, now he's getting 5 points, 7 points, 9 points yesterday. The other day. Now, he did have 38 in game 2, but there's no consistency there. The Rockets have to have more consistency out of a guy who's supposed to be one of their better players. And if he's going to, you don't know what he might do. So the Rockets, that is their problem. They have to have a dependable scorer that they can hang their hat on, that they know this guy's going to give us 20, 25 points every night. Green, he did that in the regular season, but when it's time to play for a championship, he's not showing up. Same thing in Detroit with Malik Beasley. He make all those 3-pointers, and then now he can't hit the basket if you put his finger on it, he still couldn't make a shot. And I just don't understand, man. LeBron choked that last minute pass. No, I think he made a good enough pass for Reeves to get the shot off. I mean, I don't know how you can call that a choke, but I don't know. D3, YNE, I don't know how you say that, but hello. Elite ball knowledge. Anthony Edwards is honestly the best player in the NBA. No, man. How you figure Edwards is the best player? He's too inconsistent. He went for what, 41 yesterday, and he might come back in this game and score 20, 25. I used to play parlays every now and then, and I remember one time I had one for $2,000, and I needed Anthony Edwards to get 20 points. Well, that just happened to be the game. He gets thrown out for technical fouls, and they suspended him that game. After that, it was the game before the suspension when he didn't hit his numbers. So I don't think Edwards is the best player. And just by if you get into these parlays and you start to follow the numbers, then you can pretty much see how these series are going to go. And I think that Edwards, with his inconsistency, just like Jalen Green's inconsistency, and when I started doing those parlays, I started playing with guys like Jamal Murray and knowing that he's supposed to be the number 2 guy for Denver, and he ended up getting 1 point and a half or maybe 6 points and a half. How the hell can Jokic depend on his number 2 scorer to take pressure off him if he's going to score 1 or 2 points in the first half? It just don't add up, man. And consistency is what these guys are supposed to be getting paid on. Yeah, you're going to have a bad night every night, but Green, the last 5 or 6 games, he's had one good game, 38 points, and the rest you barely getting to 10. He didn't make 10 other than the one that he scored 38 on. That's not acceptable. And he's going to have to do better than that moving forward. And you're going to go back home and what they down 2-1. No, they still in San Francisco. So I think Golden State's going to whip them again tonight. They're going to go up 3-1, and then Houston will go back and Green will show up and he'll score his 25 plus points, and then Golden State will knock him out in game 6. Well, there's one note that I want to say about old Jalen Green. I just told you about his struggles and how greatly inconsistent he is, especially when it's time to win a championship. But one thing about Green, despite his struggles, he still want to go back and forth with Draymond Green at the end of the game, want to get in his face. Why? You had all game to show up Draymond Green by scoring the basket. You didn't do that. Now you want to jaw with the man. For what? Draymond won the game. He's thinking about the next game. So if you want to hurt Draymond, score some points, man, and be consistent. And that's just the way I feel about that. But this is why football, to me, is always more important than basketball. Take the LeBron situation again, where Anthony Edwards fumbled the ball or kicked the ball out of bounds. They stopped the game, reviewed it, and gave the ball back to Edwards and then give a foul to LeBron. You don't get that in football. You might get a bad call on the replay, but if it's 4th and 1 on the goal line, the referee cannot save either one of us. Either you're going to stuff me on the 1 yard line or I'm going to get into the end zone and win the game. Either or. They're not going to call a penalty on a one-on-one move. But in basketball, I've seen it plenty of times. You can put a move on a guy and take a perfect shot and rim out. You lose, right? Wrong. Referee call a foul, put you on the line. Take Dwayne Wade. He went to the foul line and against the Mavericks in the finals that year with about 0.3 of a second. You can't put a guy on the line with 0.3 of a second. You pretty much just handed them the game, man. And I always had a problem with that. And I've seen that several times. And to me, that is the difference between football. I can't save you on the goal line. You're going to have to make the play or you're going to give it up. Either or. That's just the way I feel about it. All right. JC, how you doing, man? Why did it take so long to pick Shador? I heard somebody's son. Yeah, man, Jeff Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator for the Falcons, his son somehow got the number to call and prank Shador. I believe Ulbrich, he had to jump through some hoops and get information from somebody he knew, and he probably put his son up to that. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Why would that make sense for Ulbrich to try to do something like that? Well, as you know, not Ulbrich, but Dion played for the Falcons. He was drafted by the Falcons. So wouldn't it be great story if Dion's son was also drafted by the Falcons? So we'll call him up and get him all excited and then tell him some other kind of crap, let him know that this is not real. It's a cold-blooded game. And the thing about it is the NFL is not going to investigate that. If anything, Ulbrich should get in some kind of punishment for that because he's responsible for that number getting out. Secondly, how'd you get it in the first place? That's what the NFL might want to be asking about. And that's Jihad. How you doing, Jihad? And I just don't think that's right. But that's going to be. I don't think they're going to do anything about it, put it that way. All right, JC said the Lakers and Pistons are both done. They're not winning 3 straight games. Well, I think the Pistons got a better chance than the Lakers because they've actually outplayed New York the whole series. Now, yesterday, New York was shooting pretty well. But I don't know about Brunson. I believe he went to the locker room and shot himself up. That's the only reason he was able to come back. He might have got through the game, but who knows if he done any more damage to it by going back out there to play. So we'll see how he looks when they come out for the next game. But they're going to be playing in New York, and I think Detroit's got a problem, but they do have a better chance than the Lakers, in my opinion. All right, I got to get ready to get out of here. The Lakers, I asked the question, do you think they're going to make it to Game 7? Most of you saying no. I agree. I think Minnesota's going to finish them off by 6 if they don't, in fact, knock them off in Game 5. But, LeBron is going to go out fighting. You don't want to end his career. And I'm not saying he's trying to retire, but he just might. He won't want to go out getting beat 4 games to 1, especially when they have so much potential. Why don't the Lakers move the ball in the crunch? Well, they tried to move it in the crunch, but like I told you guys before, I noticed, seemed like to me, Doncic is a ball hog. And if he's a ball hog, I can set my game plan up for critical situations. You see, they got it out of his hand to make him pass the ball to LeBron. I mean, there's nothing you could do if one guy's taking all the shots. And that's why any team has to be balanced. And they're not balanced. I don't like this new era of basketball either. I mean, best way to play is still pound it down to the big fella. The big fella can't score, you kick it out for a shot. Or you can play a 2-man game with the guard and the big fella, or vice versa. And I think that's what Denver is doing with Jokic. Jokic, with his water polo background, he can see the floor better than a lot of people. And because he can see the floor, it makes it hard to double. If you double him, then he's going to feed it to somebody. He's good enough to shoot all the way out to the three-pointer. And if you take the old school basketball, when you have one-on-one, you take a center that can't shoot a three-pointer and he has to guard Jokic way out there. You don't want to do that. And it takes him out of his game. You're not a rebound threat or anything unless you get a long rebound. It just causes problem when the guy can see the floor like Jokic and pass the ball around. Nothing fancy about it, but it's deadly effective. I caught you this morning. I'm on break. I'm a corrections officer. My hours is crazy. Well, I'm about to get crazy too. I'm going to work. I got some plans for the summer, so I'm going to be doing all kind of stuff. But don't overwork yourself, Jihad. But go get that money, man. I got to go get it myself. All right, I got to get up out of here, man. The horn went off, so I'm already over. So, again, the Lakers, will you make it to Game 7? Most of you still saying no. And like I say, I agree. But anyway, I appreciate you guys chiming in with me. A lot going on in the sports world, man. But the point I want to make, even though Ulbrich and everybody else poking fun at Deion Sanders' kid, the kid, even though he's in the 5th round, he still has an opportunity to make the team. All right, have a blessed day, Jihad. He still has a chance to make the team, and all you want as an athlete is a chance to compete, and he has that. So I'll leave you with that. So I hope you like and subscribe, all of that. And if I don't have any breaking news today, I'll catch you guys earlier in the morning. So until next time, have a great day. This has been Sports for Real. I'm out. All right. Eli Gillison, Jihad, JC, Jay Madies. All right. Well, I want to say in the Western Conference Finals, I think that Golden State's going to be there against OKC. That's just my gut feeling. All right, have a great day. Do, 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 do.